a lot of people are thinking the sky is falling and they're freaking out. Like, what are we going to do? How you can't make any money on Amazon? And I say, yes, you can. I think the opportunity is better than ever now. About 90% or so of the people that actually try to sell on Amazon fail. Building brands takes a lot of money
Mhm.
or a lot of luck. Right place, right time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seller Board Show. I'm your host, Vladdy Gordon, and my today's guest is Kevin King. We're going to talk about Kevin's story and how he became an Amazon seller, how to pick products in 2019 and what matters, and also about selling Amazon FBA businesses or brands, because this seems to be definitely a trend this year. The market for Amazon-based brands is definitely growing. So let us know what you think. Comment this video below and give us a like and subscribe to this channel if you like it. Before we start, one word about our sponsor, and that's Sellerboard.com, our profit analytics tool. So if you're an FBA seller, then probably you know it's kind of hard to understand how much money exactly you're making per product, per day, per unit, per month, and what exact fees are you paying also on every level, on the account level, on the level of every product or a brand or even an SKU. So Sellerboard is built exactly for that. We connect to the Seller Central account and pull all the data and basically show you your profit in real time and give you actionable insights into the data. So you can cut back on some fees like storage fees if they're too high, or optimize PPC and basically make better decisions. So it's only $19 a month. So make sure you check out our free trial. There's a 1-month free trial, and the link is in the description. And now let's start the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seller Board Show. My name is Vladdy, and today we have a very special guest. Oh my God, it's the one and only Kevin King himself. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, how you doing, man? How's everybody doing?
Awesome. Hi, how are you?
Good to see you again, man. We met in Europe last year at several different conferences, and it's good to see your face, your smiling face again.
Nice to see you too, Kevin. Thanks for coming. Tell me, how's the weather in Texas?
The weather in Texas is, I don't know, just wait one day and it'll change. I'm in Austin, Texas, which is in the center of the state, so it doesn't get too cold here, but it can get down in Fahrenheit in the 30s, which is close to zero a few days of the year.
Okay.
But right now, it's actually a pleasant, it's almost like a spring day. So
Nice.
it's very nice.
All right. We're in the middle of the winter here in Europe, so yeah, snow and stuff. All right. So look, our listeners, I think you don't need no introduction to our listeners and viewers, but maybe you can just talk quickly about yourself, for those guys who don't know you yet. So,
Sure. I've been an entrepreneur for pretty much since I was born, almost since I was about 4 years old. Haven't ever worked for any corporations or anything. Right out of college, I started doing my own thing. So I've been basically self-employed for 30 years almost. I haven't gotten a paycheck from somebody else in a long time. I've had the ups and downs. Done all kinds of stuff in the television industry, where I was doing a lot of producing and for stuff for television. Did a lot of stuff in the collectible industry and in the e-commerce industry. Started doing e-commerce in about 95, 96.
wow.
Um, and back before there was even a Google. So back before you could even do pay-per-click advertising or anything like that. Started selling on Amazon in about 2000. Mostly used Amazon back then as almost like an eBay, because I would have extra stuff in the office that I wanted to sell. Instead of throwing it on eBay, sometimes I would go onto Amazon and had that little button that said "Sell Yours," and so
Mm-hmm.
I would list my used printer or my used my DVDs or whatever it might be, and sell them on Amazon. And then I have a calendar business that's seasonal, so every year we we produce a range of calendars, and those go on Amazon. So I started selling those basically as a vendor back in the early 2000s, and then evolved into private. I dabbled a little bit in arbitrage, going down back in the about 2013, 2014, going, finding deals in the local stores and buying them cheap and then selling them on Amazon. But I quickly discovered, well, that's great. That doesn't take a lot of money to get started. It's very hard to scale that. It turns into a lot of work. And I felt there was a better opportunity in private label. So I switched my focus in 2015 to private label, launched 6 brands on Amazon. And then since then, that's evolved. I still have most of those, a couple of those brands I've discontinued, but most of them I still have. And I have some partnerships with some other people and some other seller accounts that we do millions of dollars in sales. And then I speak at events, Amazon events all over the world. Did about 26 or so last year. And then I also do training with for people who are just new to the business and want to learn how does this thing work for private label at the freedomticket.com. And then I train with Manny Coates, who has the Helium 10 software. I'm not part of Helium 10, but he has that software. And we in the Illuminati Mastermind, we teach experienced sellers how to take their business to the next level.
Nice. So look, I'm very excited to pick your brain and to dive into some, secrets of your process of doing private label on Amazon. So I guess my first question would be: you said you switched to private label in 2015. I mean, obviously a lot of things changed since then, but what would you say? What's the most important thing that has changed?
Well, probably the biggest thing that changed was what happened in October 2016 when you couldn't do incentivized reviews anymore. Back when I first started, that was a major advantage to launch a product. You could just kind of game the system. But since they took that away, that's probably the biggest internal change at Amazon. But the external change at Amazon, probably the biggest one, is the software tools like Seller Board and all the, there's hundreds of tools out there. But when I first started, there was about 5 or 6 tools. There was I think Jungle Scout was just getting going, and there was a couple other kind of rude ones. There was no tools like yours or some of the others where you could keep track of your profits, and the keyword tools. I think there was Merchant Words and a few things. It was very rudimentary. And so from a seller's point of view, the tools today are so much more sophisticated. We had where Amazon actually, at least in the US, was for about a year there, the keyword tools had access to actually real data on Amazon. And that recently went away. Amazon made some changes that kind of closed that loophole. And so a lot of people are thinking the sky is falling and they're freaking out. Like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, this is like it was a year ago. It's no different. We'll go back to the estimation stuff. It's close enough. And there's other ways to figure out what to do. And the tools are so much more sophisticated. So as a seller, either whether you're new or whether you've been doing it for a while, you're at a big advantage now over the past.
What about the competition?
The competition on Amazon is fiercer and fiercer. I mean, there's more and more people trying to get in this game. But the thing is, people always say, "Is it too late? Did I miss the boat?" You can't make any money on Amazon, and I say, bull, BS. Yes, you can. I think the opportunity is better than ever now. But you have to treat it like a business. It's not there's all these courses and all these YouTube videos and all this crap out there where people are saying, basically making a pitch: buy my course and I'll teach you how to get rich and quit your job and go live on the beach and drink margaritas the rest of your life. That's not going to happen for most people. But if you treat it like a real business, you treat it as a long-term thing. Maybe you don't quit your job right away. You build this over a year, 2 years, or 3 years. The opportunities are great. About 90% or so of the people that actually try to sell on Amazon fail. And most of those people fail because they don't understand the math. This is a data analytics business. It's all about numbers. So if you're not good with numbers, you got to get somebody on your team that is. So if you're good at numbers, and understanding the whole process of how everything works, you can do very, very well. The problem right now we have is, excuse me, I'm sorry, my dog, Zoe, stop it. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. It's nice. Maybe you can show. Maybe you can show it.
The process right now, I mean, I think the opportunity is better than ever. But the biggest problem we have right now, at least in the U.S. and in Europe, especially too, is with these Chinese sellers. There's a whole movement over in China where a lot of people don't want to play by the rules, and they have access to some inside information, and they're doing it's win at all cost. And so on some of the lower price items and the commodities, the cheaper stuff, it's getting pretty cutthroat and pretty bad, but there's tremendous opportunity outside of that. I mean, like my products, I do millions of dollars a year. I don't have anything that has a BSR below 3,000 or 4,000.
Okay.
So all my stuff is like out of that range. If you're below 1,000 BSR and going after the big high sellers, the things selling 50, 100, 200 a day, the cheaper stuff that's under $20, it's cutthroat. And I don't recommend people play there, especially if you're new, but there's tremendous opportunity in the middle of the pack where these people aren't going. And because Amazon has grown, even since 2016, Amazon's doubled in sales in just the United States. So what used to be a 2,000 BSR, maybe it's a 4,000 now or 5,000, but it's still selling as much. So there's good opportunity there, but you got to use the tools, and you really got to, use something like Sellerboard or some whatever your tool is to stay on top of your numbers. And I think that's where a lot of people make a mistake is they have cash flow and they have money coming in, but they really don't know their numbers. You see it in Facebook groups. I've got a 60% profit margin or this or that or the other, but they're not factoring in all the costs and all the expenses properly. And once you do that, it can make a difference. I mean, for instance, in my products, I'm not one of these guys that has hundreds of products. That's too much. Some people they just keep adding products and they get hundreds or thousands. For me, I treat it like a stock. I want a portfolio of products, maybe 15 or 20, 25 at the top end. And that's what I manage. And that's what's manageable by one person. It's manageable by me. I don't have to have a big team. I don't want a big office. I'm not trying to scale this to be $100 million company or something. To me, that's just more headaches and more. I don't want that. I want to scale it to where I can manage it, make really good money, and have the lifestyle that I want to live. And so I use tools, like Sellerboard and some of the other ones. Like Helium 10 has a tool that's built into their software called Profits. And after 6 months of a product, if it's not making me personally at least $2,000 a month in profit, I drop the product. I get rid of it. Now, for some people, they may say $2,000 a month. That's life changing. Why the hell would you ever drop that? It's different perspective. So some people may not do that. They're happy with that. But for me, I can take the same money and maybe put it into another product that can make me $4,000 or $5,000 a month. So it's a deployment of capital issue.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a value bomb for me because, we have a lot of larger customers who have huge accounts, and I noticed that this business is kind of hard to scale. Because when you start delegating, start hiring people, and when you have more than 100 products or even more than 50 products, it becomes so complicated to manage the cash, to manage the purchasing, logistics.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that it's hard to scale. I mean, Amazon makes it pretty easy to scale from a selling point of view, but like you said, if you start adding more products, then it's a cash flow thing. It's a more and more listings, more people, more VAs. And so that I don't want to do that. I want to find those, not everything's going to succeed, but I have my failures, but that's okay. It's rare that I lose money on something. You can usually, even if it comes out of the gate and the first 5 reviews are 1 star, I can hopefully come close to breaking even and get the money back. But it's and another thing is, I don't like to have all, a lot of people have say they have 10 products, and it might be 1 or 2 of those products they're breadwinners. They're the ones that are making all the money. And the rest of them are just kind of just there. So I try to avoid that. Because if something goes wrong with that 1 or 2 products, you're screwed. So I try to, avoid that.
But you'd rather have a couple of dozens of products than a couple of hundreds
Yeah.
Make sure they're selling better, like, or you have
But like you said,
decent
cash
numbers.
flow is the thing too that kills a lot of people in this business. I mean, this is a very intensive, cash intensive business.
Hmm.
And especially if you're successful, the more successful you are, the more money you need to buy inventory and pay for deposits and get ahead of it and then wait to get paid. And it can become a big juggling act. And that's why I tell people, look, the biggest opportunity here in an Amazon business is not to try to make a big profit from your Amazon business. It's to come into it and think about selling this business, because right now there's nearly $1 billion in private equity money that's out there here in the United States. I'm on the board of advisors for a 101 Commerce. It's a company that's buying 100 Amazon businesses over the next few years.
Wow.
And they've got a lot. They've got over $100 million in capital, and so their goal is the way is to come in and buy profitable businesses, but they have the money to where maybe me and you, we're selling maybe in the U.S. and we know there's a good opportunity to sell in Europe, but we're like, man, I just can't afloat. I don't have the money to float more inventory and to buy more inventory in a way, but they do. So they can come in and almost overnight double a business just because
Wow.
they have the money and the scale. And so when you optimize your business to sell, that's when the big payday is. So let's say you get to $1 million in gross sales on Amazon doing private label, and that's a typical margin for most big sellers. A realistic margin in private label is around 20%. After you factor in all your costs, all your PPC, all your shipping, all your software tools, all your everything, maybe 25, 20 to some people hit about 30, but it's pretty rare to go above 30 if you really truly be fair to yourself with all the numbers. But let's say you have a 25% margin. So that means on a year, you're making about $250,000 profit if you're doing $1 million in sales. That's on a piece of paper. I can tell you, you're not putting $250,000 into your pocket or because you're having to use that money to reinvest, to buy more inventory, to get ahead of the game. If you're trying to grow, if you're not trying to grow, maybe you're putting that in your pocket. But if you're trying to grow it, so you could sell that company for between 2 and 5x. So somewhere between 500,000 to a little over $1 million in cash. And so what a lot of people are doing is they're taking that, building the company, and then in 2, 3, 4 years, saying, okay, let me sell it, get a nice pile of cash that you can put in your pocket, and then they're going and doing this again. They have a non-compete, so you can't sell the same category, the same thing, but maybe get $500,000. You put 400,000 in your pocket, pay some bills, take a nice vacation, buy a house, whatever it is you want to do. And then now you come into it with $100,000 to start, instead of maybe the last time you only had $5,000 or $10,000, and you can go much faster and you know what you're doing, and then sell it again, in a couple of years. And that's where the big leverage is right now. And the reason this company, like 101 Commerce, and there's more, what reason they're buying them is because if they can buy 100 of them, let's say me and you sell ours for 2x. Well, once the higher the sales go, if they get the sales up, the bigger the multiple is. So if they can it's called a roll up. They roll up 100 of these, they can get maybe a 10x multiple down the road. So it's a financial play. But someone like Amazon might come in and buy something like that and make it all their own private label, or maybe Procter and Gamble, or who knows. So there's tremendous opportunity out there, but you got to think about this stuff, and you got to make sure your books are tight and you're keeping good track of everything, and you're not taking too much money out or overspending to really optimize that value. But that's where the big opportunity is. And you don't have to live in the U.S. If you're selling in the U.S., you do have an advantage, but you could be anywhere in the world and sell the business, and they're buying. It doesn't have to be a U.S. based Amazon business. It can be selling in Germany, for example, or somewhere too. So there's good opportunity there.
That's interesting. I've actually never realized this. I know there's a lot of talking about this brokers, and you see them now and then, but I didn't realize there was such a huge game. Look, let me ask you actually one thing before we talk about ways to build such a business which is sellable. But I'm interested in the following. There are some people that are saying, like, you need to go for a brand, and build a brand and build a strong brand, right? But mostly, like, at least our community starts on Amazon, right? And Amazon is, I believe, also about, I don't know, gaming the system, or playing by the rules, but hacking the system, right? So, what do you think? Like, would you rather recommend to go for a strong brand with Instagram and everything, or just do your job and basically understand the techniques of the system? What would you recommend for?
I recommend, I mean, number one, there's a lot of hacks out there, and there's a lot of, like you said, gaming the system. And I really think most of that stuff is short lived. Most of the people that are trying to do that, they're looking for shortcuts and they're looking for ways to get an edge, and sometimes it works, but a lot of times it's short lived or it backfires.
Mm-hmm.
So I recommend people focus on the fundamentals, which is find the good products that are in demand, and have it produced well, and make sure you differentiate it. Create a really good listing with really strong photos, and I mean really strong photos. Spend some money there. Know how to launch the product right, and then just rinse and repeat and just focus on the fundamentals. I've never done, people do stuff to get reviews, for example, where they'll have their friends and family, or they'll have someone buy it and then they'll PayPal them back the money, or they'll do all kinds of. I've never done any of that for any of my businesses, and I don't want to, because those things, while they might work sometimes, they can also get you in a lot of hot water if you get discovered, and you're not in control. So there's two different thoughts here. You hear, like you said, a lot of people are saying you got to build a brand, build a brand, build a brand. I don't 100% agree with that. I think there is a time and a place for a brand. And if you're able to do that, but a brand is not just putting your logo on a product. A lot of people think, oh, it's putting my logo on a product. A brand is going after a specific niche of people and trying to create products that enhance their lifestyle, or make things easier for them. And that they identify with and that they appreciate. And building brands takes a long time. And so if you want to build a brand, that's great. Amazon is a great place to start, because the people are there. But eventually you're going to have to get off of Amazon and onto your own Shopify site or your own site, which is difficult to do, and it takes a lot of money. So what I recommend people do is focus on the private label side and maximizing your opportunity on Amazon before you start worrying about building a brand and going off of Amazon, because most people are doing this don't have a lot of money. Building brands takes a lot of money, or a lot of luck, right place, right time. So I recommend focusing on whichever market in Amazon, whether it's Europe or Japan or US or wherever it is you're selling, optimize there. And then before you go off onto Shopify, or to trying to build your brand and running Facebook ads to get people to buy directly from you, go take your product to one of the other Amazon markets first. Expand internationally, because you're gonna make much more money, a lot more money, a lot faster that way. Get your products out there, and then start thinking about, okay, now that they're rolling and making me some good cash, maybe even selling it, and then taking that money and then starting to create a brand so you can do it properly. But there's a lot of money where you can just, I mean, I disagree with people who say you have to build a brand, have to spend all this time off of Amazon, because what if Amazon, people always say, well, what if Amazon shuts me down? What if my account gets closed? I can tell you for 99% of the people that are off Amazon that have a Shopify site or they're running Facebook ads, it's not going to matter. It's like 1% of their business.
Yeah.
It's so small. And I know one-on-one commerce, when they're evaluating businesses, people always say, well, if you're selling off of Amazon, your business is going to be worth more. Yeah, maybe in some cases, but if you're selling off of Amazon and it's only 2 or 3% of your business isn't worth more. It needs to be above 30%. So if 30% of your sales are coming from off of Amazon, 30% or more, then it adds some value. But that's difficult to get to that point in the beginning. So I think you should go in and you should try to serve a certain type of customer. So like if you're gonna, I don't think you should just do haphazard products. I don't think you should say, let me do this one over here and this one over here, and it's a crazy mix. And you look at your seller store and it's like, it looks like a Walmart or something in there, or it looks like, just all kinds of crazy. I think you should try to narrow down. Like I said, I have 6 brands, and I try to fit things inside each one of those brands. If it's a dog brand, it's stuff for the dog lovers, and everything is high quality, or it's this type of consistency through it. And over time, a brand will emerge off of that. But that's my thoughts on that. Is I'm not.
Yep. I think I agree with you because like building a strong brand, basically the my impression is it's better to do your homework and to be good at selling on Amazon, and then start from there, and rather
Well,
than
the breed about Amazon is it's easy. I mean, if you're going to run and try to build your own brand off Amazon, you got to learn Facebook ads and Instagram and Google, and you got to drive traffic and get the eyeballs, and that can be expensive and time consuming. Versus if you go to Amazon where the people are already going,
yeah.
sell there, and then use that data there to build a list that you can then create lookalikes and other stuff onto Facebook. It's going to make your brand building, your selling off Amazon easier down the road because you're going to have and you can get all the kinks out, and it's just so much better place to launch something.
So let's get more like specific. What would you recommend for 2019 in terms of picking a product? Give us a couple of criteria.
Well, for 2019, I would stay away from the commodity stuff, the stuff that's under $20. I think the biggest opportunity is in that $50 to $200 price point range.
Wow.
I think there's now you're not going to sell, in most cases, you're not going to sell 20 or 50 a day, but you don't need to. You can sell five units a day or 10 units a day, and you can make the same kind of money. Differentiation is key. You've got to differentiate. There's too many Me Too products or too many people that just find the same thing, stick a label on it, and then they wonder why they have hijackers in there. They wonder, there's no protection. You have to differentiate the product. You have to. Also, I mean, there's opportunity in licensing. So, and getting licenses for, it doesn't have to be Disney, but it could be some mid-level license or some new TV show, or it could be like the U.S. Army. If you're making camping equipment, get a license from the U.S. Army. Yeah, you might have to pay them 7% as a licensing fee, but you can say this is a U.S. Army flashlight or U.S. Army backpack or whatever, and it's going to make it stand out. And because they already have a brand, you can parlay off somebody else's brand. I think you really got to know your numbers and do your homework, and don't follow. There's some big courses out there and a lot of YouTube people and stuff that say, you got to find a product that weighs less than this amount and costs less than this, and you can air freight it, and they show parameters of how to use tools like whether it's X-Ray on Helium 10 or Jungle Scout or whatever it is, and everybody does the same thing. Everybody thinks there's this magic formula, and what happens is you find a product and you're like, you get all excited. You're like, oh man, I just found it. You call it, you get it ordered. And by the time you get it launched, there's 100 other people selling the exact same thing. And you're like, where the heck did they all come from? So that's what I teach in the Freedom Ticket is I don't teach formulas. I don't say this is the 5 steps. I teach you how to think and how to analyze the data and how to use the proper tools to actually figure out what everybody else is not looking at, and how to really figure out. A lot of times it's not the big keywords that you want to go after. People are always like, well, this keyword has 20,000 searches a month and this other one has 2,000. I'm going to go after this 20,000. Well, in order to launch and to rank for that, they have to give away a lot or position. They have to do a lot of PPC or give away a lot or do a big launch. And a lot of times the real money is in the smaller keywords because there's so much more competition on the big ones. But if you focus on the smaller keywords, especially if those are converting to sales, and a lot of times I've seen some of the data from Amazon, some of the leaked data that's come out of China. I've seen some of that. And a lot of times a big keyword might have a really low conversion rate. Maybe say 20,000 searches a month might have a 5% conversion rate. So there's only 1,000 sales a month being made for all the guys off of that keyword. Yeah. And another one that's 2,000 searches a month might have a 50% conversion rate because it's more dialed in. Yeah. So it's the same number, it's 1,000 sales, but there's way less competition. Yeah. So you got to look at those kinds of things, and there's tools like Helium 10's Cerebro tool that's really good at finding those little windows when you compare your product to other products using the reverse ASIN tool. It's got some extra features most tools don't, and you can find some really golden opportunities.
So what would you recommend in terms of BSR or sales per day? Should it be over 10?
I don't pay attention to my BSR. I don't care what my BSR is, and I don't care what my competition's BSR is. Too many people look at BSR and they focus on it. I don't care. I really don't care. All I care is if I'm making money. Is it giving me the return? That's where another area where a lot of people make a mistake when they're choosing products is they look at profit. They don't look at ROI. That's a mistake I made in the beginning is I focused on profit too. but profit is not where it's at. It's in ROI, return on investment. Let's take an example. Let's say I'm selling a crate maker, which is a product I used to sell. I would order 1,000 of them, and these would cost me, I don't know, $9 a piece or whatever, something like that. And I was selling them for like $40. So I would go in, but it would take me, because they were slow moving, it would take me 3 months. I was selling about 300 a month or so, 10 a day of these things. So it would take me 3 months to basically get my money back. And I was making about $10 on each one. So basically, to double my money, to get 100% ROI, return on investment, I would have to take me 3 months. But if I could find another product, maybe I buy 1,000 of them, and I can sell them all in a month, and I'm not tying up my money as much, and I'm still making that same money. Now my ROI just went from 100 to 300%. So focusing on the ROI, the return on investment, that's how you can scale this business faster with less capital, and you can make real money. So profit is important. Profit is important, but the real number you need to focus on is return on investment. I recommend you don't do anything under 150% ROI. If you can avoid it, try to find products where it's above 150% ROI. And typically that means that whatever you're buying it for, if it's a lower priced item, you need to be able to sell it for 4 to 5 times what you bought it for at a minimum.
That's interesting. Wow. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you liked it. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel and give us a like if you liked this video. And also check out Sellerboard.com, our profit analytics tool for Amazon sellers. Our mission is to build the world's most accurate profit tool for Amazon sellers. We have a free trial. It's 1 month for free. And after that, it's starting at $19 a month. So be sure to check this out and let us know what you think. Thanks so much and see you next time. Bye-bye.